All right, so Bellator 294 this Friday from Hawaii. In the main event for the flyweight championship, we've got the rematch between Carmouche and DeAnna Bennett. I mean, was this rematch necessary? Not really, but it's fine. They're doing it in the main event. And in the co-main event, we have got Sowma taking on Tim Johnson. So only 9 cards on this first Bellator card because there's 2 this week. And tomorrow we will be posting our Bellator 295 predictions with Ralphie and Stotts and Patchy Mix in the main event to crown the Grand Prix champion at 135 pounds. And then also yesterday we posted our UFC Fight Night Pavlovich versus Blades full card predictions. So go make sure to check out that video. Link is in the description down below. And folks, if you haven't yet though, make sure that subscribe button down below for some more MMA here on the channel. So our first fight is between Anthony Adams and Davlatmurodov here. For Davlatmurodov, coming off his first fight in Bellator, which was a loss for him. It was on that Fedor and Tim Johnson card. We lose to Tokov by split decision in his Bellator debut, but this is a fight that he was a plus 450 underdog in, comes in, loses the fight, but fought in various other promotions before that, fought some in ACB and in ACA as well, went 2-0 in ACA, 5-3 in ACB. Again, comes in this fight with a record of 18 wins, 4 losses, and one draw. You know, for Davlatmurodov, solid guy on the ground, can really get it done down there. Isn't horrible on the feet either. He'll be taking on a fighter here in Anthony Adams, who is 9-3 professionally. And for Anthony Adams, the last fight was a loss to Dalton Rosta, losing that fight by unanimous decision. But before that, being Khalid Merzlativ by unanimous decision. And then fought in the Contender Series before that against Impa Kasanganay, a fighter in Kasanganay, who's now in the PFL, but got a shot for the UFC to Anthony Adams, and he lost by unanimous decision. For Adams, again, this isn't a guy who's necessarily going to go out there and finish you. He's a stand-up guy, but he's not, you know, he doesn't possess the most power on the feet, and you know, he's not always looking for the kill in there. For Davlatmurodov, though, I think he's gonna have the advantage on the ground. I think Anthony Adams' ground game isn't the greatest, and for Davlatmurodov, I think there's a really easy pathway to victory for him. It's gonna be through wrestling, and it's probably gonna be through takedowns. So I think that's how Davlatmurodov is gonna get it done. For Anthony Adams, he's gonna have to keep this fight standing. He's gonna have to try out strike Sharaf here, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Give me Davlatmurodov to go in there and out-wrestle his way to victory. He's gonna beat Anthony Adams. He's gonna get it done by unanimous decision. Now we've got Chris Lencioni taking on Blake Smith. For Lencioni, coming off 3 straight wins actually, beating Draco Rodriguez by unanimous decision on B2 Fighting Series. Rodriguez, again, a guy who fought in the UFC. First fight outside the promotion, runs in to Chris Lencioni, and Lencioni beats him. Draco Rodriguez now fighting in Bare Knuckle FC, but Lencioni beats Draco Rodriguez, beats Hoffman after that bare naked choke, and then beats Cody Law in his last fight in a good win by split decision. Underdog in that fight against Law, he goes in there and he wins it. Of course, Cody Law was coming off his first loss to James Gonzalez, and then they give him Lencioni. Lencioni goes in there and upsets him by split decision. And for Chris Lencioni, I mean, you know the ground game of this guy. He is a tremendous grappler. He's going to try to go in there and he's going to try to submit you. He'll be taking on a fighter here in Blake Smith, who is making his Bellator debut, coming off his last fight in CFFC, which he lost in a main event spot to Kenley St. Louis, losing that fight by unanimous decision. Smith is now back though, and he'll be fighting Chris Lencioni, the former Cage Fury lightweight champion, in Blake Smith won that championship back, I believe, against, it was back in 2021, winning that fight by submission in the 3rd round. I mean, that's normally where Blake Smith excels. It is on the ground. But in a fight like this against a guy who is such a good grappler in Chris Lencioni, it makes it a tough fight for Smith. I'm surprised Smith right now is a slight favorite considering his last outing. Again, this fight against Lencioni, this fight against Lencioni is going to be at featherweight, unlike his last fight, which was at 155 pounds. But I think Lencioni is going to get him here. I think Lencioni is the better grappler. I think once he is able to get Smith to the ground, I think he's going to have a lot of success down there, at least holding Blake Smith down. So give me Chris Lencioni here at the upset. I'm going to take him by unanimous decision. Next up, we got Tyrell Fortune taking on Sergey here. Sergey's making his Bellator debut, coming off a win in his last fight in RCC over Fernando Rodriguez Jr. by split decision. This is going to be a tough fight for Tyrell Fortune. I just think it's going to be. Because, I mean, Sergey's a guy who's going to come in here. He is going to wear on you, and he's got power on the feet, but he's also got really good ground and pound as well. And for Tyrell Fortune, this is a guy who's lost 2 of his last 3, the last one being a loss to Daniel James. Of course, Daniel James most recently came in and won a main event against Marcelo Goma. Now he's already been booked in his next fight against Gokhan Sarikam in his next fight, which is going to be interesting. We're going to see that on the Chicago card that Bellator is building up for early summer. But for Tyrell Fortune, losing his last fight, before that he beat Rakeem Cleveland, and Rakeem Cleveland's a guy who's now gone on to beat Christian Edwards in his last fight. And then before that, Tyrell Fortune losing it to Leighton Vassell by split decision. I mean, Fortune's a guy, again, who can go in there and can't get the finish. he is, you know, he's a good wrestler. He's a guy who's going to go in there. He's going to try to take you down. He's going to try to work you on the ground. But again, his last 3 fights haven't been the greatest. Of course, beating Raheem Cleveland, but that's what a guy in Tyrell Fortune is supposed to do. It's just that Sergey's really good. This guy hits hard, and once he gets you to the ground, there's no getting up. This guy is dominant on the ground with his ground pound. I just think all around this is a tough fight for Tyrell Fortune. That's what I'm going to take Sergey to win this fight by first round knockout. I think Tyrell Fortune is going to get caught early here. I think there's going to be a big power discrepancy in this one. I think Sergey's got a lot more power than Tyrell Fortune, and I don't think Sergey's going to allow Tyrell Fortune to take him down. So if Fortune cannot take down Sergey, he's going to be stuck in a striking fight with Sergey. I think Sergey's going to rock him, and I think Sergey's going to put him down. So that's why I'm going to go first round knockout here for Sergey here. I don't think Fortune is able really to pull off much in this fight, and I think he's going to lose 3 of his last 4. Give me Sergey to win this fight by first round knockout. Next up, Mota taking on Kenneth Cross. Going to be taking Kenneth Cross here by unanimous decision. This is a guy, again, making his Bellator debut, got shot in the Contender Series in 2020, beat Kevin Seiler by unanimous decision, but did not get the contract. Since then, he's won back-to-back fights in XFC, his last one being a huge one by unanimous decision over Jose Martinez, and before that being Jarrell Askew by TKO in the second round. I mean, Cross is on a huge winning streak. This guy who's won his last, I think, 8 fights, and, you know, Cross is pretty solid. He's a pretty good striking fighter. He's got a pretty good stand-up game, and he's going to be taking on a guy in Mota here who has won back-to-back fights over Jairo Pacheco and Dan Moret, both by unanimous decision, but before that, dropping back-to-back fights to Derek Anderson and Mike Hamill. I think this is an incredibly close fight. I think Mota obviously is really good. Again, 3-2 in Bellator, but a solid striker in his own right, can get it done on the ground as well. But I think Kenneth Cross has got a better striking game. He is an underdog in this one. He's coming in at plus 140, but I think this is a good spot to capitalize on the underdog spot here for Cross. I mean, again, this is a guy who is making his Bellator debut, but it's been on the bright lights of the Contender Series since the Contender Series spot. He's won 2 straight. I would be a little bit concerned for Kenneth Cross because he's not fought since 2021. He took the entire year of 2022 off. That's a little bit concerning, but he's going to be back, and again, I just think Cross's striking game is going to be way better than what Mota is going to be able to offer. I mean, I think Cross can be able to keep distance. I think he's going to be able to use his striking to his advantage. And I think if this fight is hit the mat, which I think Cross is decent at, I think he will have a shot down there, even though I think Mota will offer Kenneth Cross something a little bit difficult on the ground because Cross has been submitted 3 times in his career for Mota. Again, this is a guy who's able to go in there and he's able to get submissions as well. So I think for Cross, you're trying to stay up the ground game and keep this fight standing out, trying to outstrike Mota, and I think that's what he's going to be able to do. So give me Kenneth Cross to go out there and win this fight. I think we'll be able to get it by unanimous decision. Okay, next up we've got Chokheli taking on Michael Lombardo here in this. I'm going to take Chokheli by unanimous decision. You know, Lombardo's a guy who's 1-1 his last 2 fights, losing to Kyle Crutchmer by unanimous decision, but beating Mark Lemminger after that by knockout in the first round. I mean, the Lemminger fight, it was a fight that I thought he was going to go in there. I thought he was going to win. I mean, even odds going into that fight, but Lombardo went in there and barely got the win, or didn't barely get the win. I thought he was going to barely get the win. He went out there and in impressive fashion knocked out Lemminger in the first. Lombardo's a guy who came over from the PFL, beat Kyron Bowen over there by TKO in the first round. After that, again, got the Crutchmer fight, lost it by decision. He's going to be taking on Chokheli, a guy who's 2-2 in Bellator as well. Another man who has lost to Kyle Crutchmer after the Crutchmer fight for him. Beat Vinicius de Jesus, lost to Gochi Yamuchi, and got subbed in the first round. It's going to happen to you. And then beat Roman Faraldo in his last fight, in a fight where, Faraldo's a guy who was undefeated going into that one. He was 8-0. I picked Faraldo to go in there and knock him out, and Chokheli weathered the storm and he beat him by decision. I think that's what Chokheli's going to do to Michael Lombardo in this fight. Again, I think he's just going to weather the storm. He's going to outstrike Lombardo. I think if he needs to switch it up and take to the mat, which could happen, but we'll see. I think Chokheli's just going to win it at all points in this fight. Again, Chokheli's a slight favorite in this one, minus 190. You got coming back for Lombardo, plus 165. I think Chokheli gets it done. I think he'll be able to win this fight by decision. We'll see, but yeah, give me Chokheli by decision. Danny Sabatello is just such a tough fight for some of these guys. I mean, the Italian gangster's back. He's a minus 500 favorite against Marcus Breno, and Marcus Breno's not a walk in the park at all. This is a guy who came in his last fight, upset Josh Hill. I thought Josh Hill was going to win that fight, but Breno went in there and beat Josh Hill by decision. I mean, Breno's a good fighter. This guy's 15-2. He's 1-0 in Bellator. I mean, he's got a solid striking game. He can really go in there. He can inflict damage to the feet. He's got decent power for the weight class as well for a 135-pounder. The problem is he's going to be taking on Danny Sabatello. And Sabatello is just such a tough matchup for some of these guys. And, of course, came up short in his last fight, fighting for the championship against, of course, Ralphie and Stotts. If he beat Ralphie and Stotts, he would have been in that main event spot, against Apache Mix, but instead, here we go, Danny Sabatello against Marcus Breno, and I kind of feel like I know what Danny Sabatello is going to do. I think everyone knows what Danny Sabatello is going to do. He's just going to take him down. He's going to hold him down. I mean, Sabatello's not the most, he's not the most exciting fighter. Let's just say it how it is. He's going to talk trash and he's going to sell a fight. That is what Danny Sabatello is going to do. He's going to make you interested in watching the fight. But, let's be honest, he's not the most entertaining guy. He's going to go in there, he's going to wrestle Breno, and he's not going to let Breno back up. I mean, I found something interesting on Bellator Twitter page. When they posted, Danny Sabatello's highlights, they show the fight with him and Leandro Higo, and in his highlight reel, they just show him, just taking down Higo, kind of just wearing on him, and they show Higo that one point, I think it was in the third round, where Higo took his back. I don't know why they put that in his highlight reel, but just goes to show you, I mean, that's just what Sabatello does. He goes out there and he wrestles guys. That's what he did against Damon Blackshear. That's what he did against Brett Johns. That's what he did against Jordan Lugo. Higo tried to do that against Ralphie and Stotts. He just didn't really have Stotts down for all that long and couldn't really do too much damage to Stotts while he has Stotts down. That's something that Sabatello's not going to do. Sabatello's really not going to inflict too much damage once he does get you to the ground, but he's going to get you to the ground and he's going to hold you onto the ground, and you're really not going to be able to do much with it. So I think Sabatello goes in there, just out wrestles Breno the entire fight. I think he's going to win and unfortunately not the most impressive and not the most entertaining fashion. Danny Sabatello is going to win by unanimous decision. Give the Italian gangster another win in Bellator, improving his Bellator record to 4-1. Next up, we've got Blencowe taking on Sarah McMann in McMann's Bellator debut. I think Sarah McMann's going to get her by decision. I think what Sarah McMann does in all of her fights. The former Olympic wrestler is going to go in here and she is going to wrestle. Now, I don't know why entirely McMann got dropped from the UFC, because she's supposed to fight Aspen Ladd twice, and both those fights against Aspen Ladd, they didn't happen because of Aspen Ladd. The first fight, Ladd withdrew. The second fight, Ladd missed weight, and they just said, okay, we're going to do away with Aspen Ladd. Ladd signs the PFL, and Sarah McMann, okay, we're just going to do away with you too, which doesn't really make sense because she was still ranked. She beat Carol Hosta in her last fight. She had a fight where she was beating Juliana Pena, the future champion, until Pena locked in a rear naked choke, took McMahon's back, and won the fight. And then she beat Lena Landsberg before that, did Sarah McMann. I don't know why they cut Sarah McMann. It doesn't make sense. I get she's 42 years old, but she probably doesn't have too much time left fighting. She's fighting a 40-year-old Arlene Blencowe in this fight. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be an easier cut for McMann at 145 pounds now, and McMann, honestly, has to win a couple fights, or maybe just win one fight, and now you're working your way to a title shot, but I don't know where Chris Cyborg is. Cyborg has not been around. It doesn't make sense. McMahon's going to go in this fight, though. If you're concerned about the fight part of things here, she'll go in here, and she should out-wrestle Arlene Blencowe for 3 rounds and win the fight. Blencowe's got to keep this fight on the feet to win. I just don't know how she does it. She has not fought since she fought Chris Cyborg for the World Championship, where she did make it all 5 rounds back in 2022, but she lost by unanimous decision. I don't think she's going to be able to beat McMann in this fight. I don't think she's going to be able to keep McMann on the feet. So I think Sarah McMann's able to go out there and win this one. But I don't know where Chris Cyborg is. Do they have a 145-pound champion? Who knows? Are they going to strip Cyborg? Are they going to make an interim fight between Sarah McMann and Kat Zingano? Maybe, but I think McMann goes in there and she out-wrestles Blencowe for 3 rounds and she'll win the fight. Just that, I just don't know where the future is with this weight class. But again, McMann, Olympic wrestler, you know what she does well. She'll go out here and she should pick up a win in this one by just purely wrestling. So give me the -190 favorite and Sarah McMann to go out there and pick up the win. I got McMann to take down Arlene Blencowe and win this fight by unanimous decision. Co-main event in the heavyweight division, we've got Tim Johnson taking on Said Sowma in this fight. I'm taking Said Sowma to win this fight by second round knockout. Tim Johnson's getting up there. He's been fighting a lot. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. I mean, he got his shot at the interim championship against Valentin Moldavsky. He loses. This might be the downward trajectory here for Tim Johnson. This might be his 4th loss in a row, and I think it's going to come here. Said Sowma, okay, don't get me wrong, though. I can 100% see a way where Tim Johnson wins this fight. I mean, 100%. Johnson can definitely go out here and outbox Said Sowma. I would not put it past him. I just think Soma's going to barely get it here. Soma's been in 2 close fights back-to-back, losing to Davian Franklin and Gokhan Sari coming back-to-back fights. But I think he'll get it against Johnson here. I think he is a better striker at this point in both men's career. I think he's got more power. Well, I don't know. He's got about the same power as Tim Johnson. I think Soma's just able to do just enough in this one. I think he is. Again, I think it's very close though, because Tim Johnson's a guy, again, he lost to Valentin Moldavsky for the World Championship, for the interim championship, then drops a fight to Fedor Emelianenko, and then drops one in his last fight to Lyndon Vassell. He has not fought in about a year. He's back here against Said Sowma. I mean, this video's been posted on Monday, right? So it's been 367 days as of today since Tim Johnson's last fight. I think he's going to lose to Sowma here. He's a big underdog in this one. I think Sowma, again, is just going to do enough to win this fight. I think he'll finish him in the second round. I think the damage that Sowma is able to do is going to be more than the damage that Tim Johnson is able to put on Said Sowma. So I'm going to take Said Sowma to win this fight by second round knockout. Am I confident? No. I could definitely see a world again where Tim Johnson kind of turns back the clock and Johnson's just able to win some big power shots. Sowma is susceptible of being hit a lot, so Johnson could definitely just crack him once and end the fight. But I think Sowma, again, is able to avoid some of those spots. I think Soma's able to press forward, and I think Said Said Sowma is going to be able to go in there. I think he's going to be able to pick up a TKO finish in the second round. Give me Said Sowma to go in here in a co-main event in his biggest spot to date and win this fight again by second round TKO. Okay, main event in the flyweight division, we have got the champion, Liz Carmouche, who has defended her championship now successfully after that weird controversial finish back in Bellator 278, the Mike Beltran finish against Juliana Velasquez in the fourth round of their first fight, but came back in a dominant fashion in her last fight, submitting Juliana Velasquez in the second round by armbar. Here comes Liz Carmouche defending her championship against DeAnna Bennett in a rematch of their fight all the way back in 2020, Bellator 246. The main event of that card was Patchy Mix versus Juan Archuleta for the vacant Bellator Bantamweight Championship, but now you get Carmouche and DeAnna Bennett again. So what has DeAnna Bennett done? She's got a record of 13-7-1 to work her way back up to this championship fight. The fighter coming out of Fremont, California, has beat Alejandra Lara by unanimous decision, and then she's beat Justine Kish twice, and now here she is in a championship fight. Interesting. I mean, she's 3-1 in Bellator. Her only loss is Liz Carmouche, and I guess with Bellator, like, what other flyweights do they have, really? Because Bellator's, flyweight division, their women's divisions are kind of thin. I guess you have to give her the shot. I would make the case maybe you give it to Lima McFarland, especially because this fight is going to be in Hawaii. But again, she lost to Justine Kish, so you probably can't do that because Kish has already lost twice to DeAnna Bennett, so you're kind of just forced to give this shot to her. I mean, kind of want to Nabe, but yeah, I guess it kind of has to be DeAnna Bennett here. I mean, this is a flyweight division for Bellator, which is pretty weak. I mean, hell, Sumiko Inaba is ranked number 9. I don't know why Justine Kish is stuck at 10, even though she's beat number 3, Lima McFarland. The Bellator rankings do not make sense. But for DeAnna Bennett, I don't know how she wins this fight, because Liz Carmouche is a better striker. Liz Carmouche is a better grappler, as you saw in her last fight with Juliana Velasquez. How does DeAnna Bennett win? I don't know, because DeAnna Bennett, I guess, is a wrestler, is a grappler, but she's been submitted a couple times, and she's already been submitted by Liz Carmouche. She got submitted by Miranda Maverick back in 2019. I just don't see a world how DeAnna Bennett wins this fight. I think Liz Carmouche should be an even greater favorite than minus 350. I just think Carmouche has got her on the ground. I think Carmouche has got her on the feet. I don't know how DeAnna Bennett wins this fight. So give me the favorite here in the champion, Liz Carmouche, to retain her championship. She submitted DeAnna Bennett in her last fight by third round submission. I think this one's going to be even quicker. I got her to win in the second round, just like how she submitted Juliana Velasquez. She's going to submit DeAnna Bennett in this fight in the second round in the main event of Bellator's first of 2 cards in Hawaii this weekend. So yeah, I mean, again, I just don't, what changes from that first fight other than I think Carmouche got better. Seriously, nothing changes from that first fight. Carmouche just got better. I feel like it's a meaningless rematch, but a rematch that Bellator's got to do to keep Liz Carmouche active. So give me the champion and Liz Carmouche to retain her championship by second round submission. So folks, thank you guys for watching our Bellator 294 predictions here on the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more MMA here on the channel. We will be back tomorrow for Bellator 295, so stay locked in the channel for that, folks. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you are enjoying, or if you did enjoy this video. Give folks a hand for watching, and Mamba forever.